With everything going on right now, you guys, I think it's officially safe to say that Fortnite is absolutely going all out for Chapter 7. They're not holding anything back for this chapter drop, and it may actually be the biggest chapter drop that we've ever seen in Fortnite history. Every single day, it seems like we're getting something new for Chapter 7, and I'm not kidding. This might be the most packed, ambitious chapter Fortnite has dropped in literal years. Between the Traveler reveal, all the new mechanics that are coming, the weapons, the collabs, especially the story, it seriously feels like Fortnite is going absolutely all out for this drop. And I mean it when I say this. I haven't been this excited for a new chapter since like the beginning of Chapter 3. The hype has been absolutely insane and it keeps getting bigger. So today, I want to break down just about everything we know about Chapter 7 so far. The gameplay, the collabs, the weapons, additionally some of the story stuff, all of it. Because the more I look into this chapter, the more it feels like Fortnite is cooking something absolutely crazy. We're also going to continue a little bit of the theories and breakdowns about the Traveler and the story as well. So this is basically your giant preview of why Chapter 7 is already looking like one of the best chapters that we may ever see. So let's start off with the gameplay, because this alone is enough to make Chapter 7 feel completely different from anything we've ever had before. And before I actually get into the specifics, Clicks actually said that there's going to be a really big mechanical change in Chapter 7 that a lot of people are going to like, but it may affect competitive in a negative way. Either people are going to love it or hate it. I'm really excited to see exactly what he was talking about. We will just have to wait and see. But first off, we have surfing and skateboarding, which instantly gives this new chapter the kind of movement-heavy, fast-paced feeling that a lot of people love, including myself. I think it would definitely be a missed opportunity if in a West Coast kind of like, you know, beach sort of theme season, if they didn't have skateboarding or at least surfing. I think that's going to be really fun to see. I don't know if surfing is just going to be something that you can do like for fun in the game, or if you'll have to do it to get to certain POIs, but I'm interested to see that. But then we also have this flying with like a glide suit movement, basically a wingsuit that we already saw leaked. In the background here, you're seeing like the 3-second blurry image we have of it. But if this is real, and hopefully it actually does make it into the final cut, that's going to completely change rotations. I don't know if we've ever had an actual like flying ability besides for maybe, you know, the guitar thing from Chapter 5. I don't know if we've ever had anything like a wingsuit before, so that's going to be very interesting to see as well. Now, self-reboot is another one, and that is absolutely insane. A built-in revive system without having to have somebody get your card. That's a massive gameplay shift as well. And if you guys don't know, reboot vans are also going to be drivable inside of Fortnite. So you can literally be going to reboot your teammate, and you see somebody hop in the reboot van and just drive it away from you so you can't reboot. That's going to be interesting to see. Could be frustrating. Don't know how long that's going to stay in the game, but I'm all here for it. And another thing that is kind of groundbreaking when it comes to gameplay is that simple building is coming out. Now, if you guys don't know what this means, it's basically like a simple editing where there's kind of prefabs that, you know, can automatically edit the build for you instead of you actually having to like build it or edit it yourself, like choosing each of the squares, if that makes sense. We have a whole video talking about how that could change Fortnite all the way back in Chapter 6, but the same sort of thing is coming out for building, because, you know, some people when they first start the game, they're not very good at editing and building, and there's a really big skill gap there between like veteran and new players. So they made building a little bit more accessible again, especially for new players. Like I said, it's going to allow you to create builds just by pressing a button. So maybe a ramp, or maybe, you know, like a 90 or a little tower or something like that, just by pressing one button. It'll be interesting to see how that works in game and how many people will actually use it as well. And then this is probably the biggest one. It's a new play as a boss feature. Now, we have no idea how that's going to work, to be honest, but that's one of the craziest mechanics Fortnite has ever attempted. I'm really excited to see what they do this. We know the Ice King is connected in some way, which means that the Ice King is going to be inside of OG as well as inside of the regular BR mode, possibly at the same time, leaning into more of the connection between OG and Chapter 7. I don't know if there will be bosses on the map that once you defeat them, you can just play as them or something like that, or it'll kind of be like the transformations that we have right now in Chapter 6. That'll be interesting to see. But just off of gameplay alone, and that's only a few things that we know, Chapter 7 feels like Fortnite isn't playing around. They're genuinely trying to evolve the game in ways that we haven't seen before. I'm really excited for the gameplay itself. Now, we really didn't talk about this yesterday, but this is something that also got leaked or shown out in general into the public that was kind of overshadowed by, you know, the image of the Traveler and things. But there were brand new weapons spotted in this key art. As you can see, there's an Uzi and a brand new scoped AR. You can see these super clearly in these close-up screenshots right here. Obviously, these two things we've kind of had before. We've had scoped ARs before, but I believe the scoped AR is just going to be a regular assault rifle just with a scope on it. Maybe you'll be able to take it off and on. Maybe attachments are coming back in a way that people like a little bit more. We'll just have to wait and see. We've had kind of Uzis before. We've had the dual SMGs, but an actual Uzi itself will be interesting to play around with. There's also been some rumors about the hammer pump returning as well, because as you can see from this little like Quentin Tarantino X Fortnite X Kill Bill thing, which we will have a whole video talking about possibly tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. Fortnite may actually be making their own like movie with Quentin Tarantino, which is pretty cool. We'll talk about that later, but we can see Peely holding it right here only for a second. So there's definitely going to be more items and stuff that are going to come back, especially hopefully new ones as well that haven't been shown yet. But between the new mechanics and the new weapons, the loot pool is already looking like a pretty big reset after what we got in the Simpsons season. Now let's talk about the story a little bit, because obviously the Traveler teaser might be one of the most hype driving reveals Fortnite has ever put out before a chapter launch, and this is kind of in the driver's seat of the Chapter 7 launch in my opinion. But a content creator who saw early story stuff literally said Fortnite Chapter 7 story is light years ahead of Chapter 1 and 2, and that's an absolutely massive statement. The Traveler himself is super mysterious. We don't know who he is, but the community is kind of convinced that he's a corrupted member of the Seven. I personally think that he is the origin, but again, I will have a more deep dive coming out later about that. Of course, in the teaser, we can see the Seven's logo is coming back. We know the Last Reality is going to return in some way because this guy is most likely a part of them. Some people even think that this might be the scientist or another Seven member that disappeared or got chromed. The speculation is really crazy, and I can't wait to talk about more theories with this throughout Chapter 7. But Fortnite themselves has tweeted that the island has a new problem and showed the Traveler facing away from all of these screens of the new characters, so he's definitely going to be important throughout the chapter. But Fortnite hasn't done something like this where they kind of lean into the story in quite a long time, especially being one of the first official like big teasers revealed for a new chapter is based around the story entirely and not necessarily like the collabs or anything like that. They're immediately giving us a brand new antagonist that we've never seen before that brings together all of these factions, including the Last Reality, the IO, and the Seven, all in one image at the same time is really insane. It just goes to show that they're really locking in for the story this chapter. But of course, you guys, this is all connecting back to the climax of Chapter 6, which is 0 Hour, coming in just about 4 days at this point, which is insane. All of this timing makes way too much sense. 0 Hour is obviously the transition from the Chapter 6 storyline into this massive new arc with the Traveler, the Seven corruption, everything. And remember, Fortnite has been marketing this as a new story. A brand new story begins, which is interesting. If the Traveler actually does end up starting out as a member of the Seven and he's coming to help us against the Dark Presence, and then he's captured by the Dark Presence, or the Dark Presence does something to him in the event, and then he turns into the Traveler, it'll be really interesting to see how that goes out and what the consequences of everything that goes down in 0 Hour is going to be. Just the fact that there's so much speculation about the event in general just goes to show that Fortnite is really working hard to make sure that there's a lot of eyes on this. I know some people have even said they've seen the 0 Hour promotion stuff and the teasers on TV, which is really insane. They're putting this everywhere, and I can't wait to see what they're cooking up. But additionally, for Chapter 7, the collabs for it are absolutely stacked. Now, of course, these are all mostly just rumors. A few of them are pretty much confirmed, but these are the stuff that we have leaked and rumored. Of course, we have Lisa. We know that she is going to be the festival headliner for next season. Kill Bill, of course, we've got the Bride in the Battle Pass. We also have Yuki coming out for free to anybody who signs in between November 27th and the 1st. Ninjago, of course, we saw the nunchucks like we talked about in my last video. Those are Jay's nunchucks from the show. SpongeBob is rumored to be finally coming out as skins and not just a UEFN map. We've got South Park and Harry Potter, which really don't have much behind them. Playboy Cardi, we 100% know is coming. He's tweeted Fortnite on Twitter and everything. A like Christmas version of Hatsune Miku, and of course Back to the Future with Marty McFly being in the teaser. And of course, that's just a few. We have no idea how much more is going to come out after season 1 or which one of these are only going to be in, just in general in Chapter 7. But this is a huge collab lineup, and it's some stuff that people have been asking for forever. Like Ninjago, I've been waiting for that since the Lego mode came out like 2 years ago at this point. South Park will be very interesting. And there's also some rumors about Paramount sidekicks coming out as well, which that just has huge potential by itself. In terms of brand new modes, apparently Epic has been updating bot-only modes for Chapter 7. Apparently solos and duos are fully updated already, set to go out in Chapter 7. Of course, this could change, and maybe it's just a rumor that's really not true, but I do think that Fortnite is going to be adding a bots-only mode, because if we saw when people were actually playing Chapter 7, when they're testing it inside of, the creator event in LA, we saw that they were playing a solo versus bots mode. Now, I don't know that could just be, for the creator event or anything like that. It could be a brand new thing for casual players, which I think is definitely needed. Based on the stuff that we've seen about the, teasers for 0 Hour and the stuff going into Chapter 7, it looks like voice lines and, actual personalities to each character are going to be a new thing that Fortnite is working towards with this new focus on the storyline. More NPCs are getting updated as well, which might tie, of course, directly into the story, or even more gameplay changes with NPCs. We'll have to wait and see. But even outside of the flashy stuff, Epic seems to be tightening the, core foundation for this new chapter, and to be honest, it really all starts with the story. I'm not exaggerating when I say this, and I think this is a common, thing around the community right now is that Chapter 7 genuinely feels special. And like I said, I haven't been this excited for a chapter launch since Chapter 3. That same energy is coming back. All of the leaks, the teasers, the new features, everything is hitting at once. The Traveler storyline alone already has me hooked. Even if the gameplay is bad, I'm going to keep playing to make sure I know what's going on with the story. And I'll be making a ton of theory videos, you guys, storyline breakdowns, Traveler deep dives. Chapter 7 is going to be incredible to cover, and I'm going to be making the best commentaries here as always. But this is setting up to be one of the most ambitious chapters. If you guys want to catch up on the story hype, definitely watch my video breaking down the new Chapter 7 image with the Traveler, because that one goes deep into the story setup much more than this video. And if you also want the full context of how Chapter 6 wraps up into 0 Hour and what's going on in the Simpsons story, check out my video on the final Simpsons short little mini episode as well. If you guys did enjoy today's video, please do drop a like. You watched all the way to the end. You must have enjoyed, so drop a like. Subscribe to the channel. I make videos like these every single day. Use code Prozero YT, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.